Hello, Chameleon Academy. I got a question about chameleons drinking. This particular person was worried that his chameleon wasn't drinking. Chameleons drinking is actually a very tough subject to talk about, especially when you're trying to give advice. Because the fact is, a very well-hydrated chameleon won't drink. And so when I look in my collection and I see chameleons drinking, I'm actually concerned because that means that they're dehydrated and they're not getting enough hydration from the normal means. Now, I'm sure you can understand the tenuous situation when we're telling people to not be concerned if they don't see their chameleon drink. So what I want to do is give you a few signs that you can check to see if your chameleon is hydrated. But first, let's talk about how a chameleon gets hydrated. In the wild, a chameleon will be sleeping in a high humidity situation, and so won't be losing a lot of moisture. When the chameleon wakes up, there's dew on the leaves. They can top off their moisture if they need to. And then during the day, they will get some hydration through what they eat. And generally speaking, this provides the chameleon the hydration they need. Now, chameleon hydration is a very difficult thing for us human beings to grasp because if we don't see them drinking, we don't have this feeling that they're hydrated. So how in the world do we trust this breathing in fog while they're sleeping and then the licking of dew off the leaves and getting moisture from the insects when we don't see them drink? And the way to do that is to look at the signs of hydration. When a chameleon is hydrated, they will produce moist poop. Sorry about that. We're going to be looking at chameleon poop when we're judging whether a chameleon is hydrated or not, because that is the final test now, isn't it? So what you can do is you will always see poop at the bottom of your cage as long as they're eating and healthy. Take a look at that poop, and it has to be fresh. Sorry about the discussion, everybody. This is just what we're going to have to do. So if the chameleon is hydrated, the poop will show signs of moisture. We all know what it looks like when those poops are dehydrated. It's like they're dry. If your chameleon is giving you dry poop, that is the sign that they need more hydration. Another test that we can do is behavior. If during the day you set up a dripper, and this can be a simple party cup with a pinhole at the bottom, filled with water, and it will drip on leaves. And if the chameleon rushes over and starts gulping down the water, that means that the chameleon is dehydrated, because a chameleon should not rush to water. And so if you put this pinhole cup up there and the chameleon completely ignores the drip of water, and it has to drip on leaves where they can easily get a hold of it from their perching branch, and if the chameleon ignores that, then there's a pretty good chance the chameleon is hydrated. If you're seeing moist poops and they ignore water, then you're good. Now this brings us around to talk about the practice of misting, which we have these misters, and they send pressurized water into the cage and they coat the cage's surfaces. Now, those aren't a great tool for determining hydration because nobody likes to be sprayed with water. Even if you were thirsty, the last thing you need is for a fire hose to hit you. And that's the first reaction that we get from a chameleon when we turn on the misting system. They just, But we don't like to spray our chameleons directly because, well, they hate it. If you're using a daytime hydration scheme, which is what I used to do for longest time, this is where you mist during the day. I don't do this anymore. I subscribe to the naturalistic hydration method, which has fogging in the nighttime, misting right before the lights come on, and then letting the cage dry out during the day. Sometimes I'll use a dripper at around in the afternoon sometime, just to test to make sure the chameleon is hydrated. But many people still do the daytime hydration where you spray the chameleon or the cage once, twice, multiple times during the day. If you do this, the principles still apply. If the chameleon is ignoring the water, then he's probably hydrated. Although you got to take into account that dynamic that they hate being sprayed. So if the misters come on and they run away, that's not because they are hydrated or dehydrated. It's because they hate being sprayed by water. Well, once they've run away, once they're hiding in all of the dense plant cover that you have in there, right? Then they can drink if they want to. So in conclusion, where does this leave us? First thing you need to do is determine if you have a problem at all. And that's what we're doing. We're looking at the behavior as to whether they go towards a dripper, which is not spraying on them. And 2, we're looking at their poops. And if those 2 things are in place, then you don't have to worry about it. in all of these things that we're testing, don't go by just one occurrence. Once it happens 2-3 times, then you know it is an ongoing issue and it's time to do something about it. But the majority of cases that I've encountered where people have been concerned about whether their chameleons are drinking or not has turned out to be that they're not drinking because they're already hydrated. So hopefully I've given you some test points that you can use in your chameleon husbandry to let you know if you have a situation that needs to be taken care of or if everything is A-okay. This is Bill Strand signing off. I'll see you tomorrow for your next Daily Chameleon Touchpoint.